a lot in the passing department because they really haven't used the passing game over the first three.
Well, the frustration for Bill Snyder is the fact that I don't think right now he believes in his quarterback, Carson Kaufman. If they're going to get back in this football game, it's going to be because they can throw the football and get UCF off of them defensively so that Daniel Thomas can start running efficiently.
Beautiful kick by Katoy. William Powell will wait and keep it right there. At our first half numbers as we look, and I talked about total net yards offensively, only 43 for Kansas State on those 24 opportunities.
Plus, UCF has been able to hold the football and keep it away from Kansas State. That's normally what Kansas State does to their opponents, but the 17+ minutes of possession time for UCF, in large part because Godfrey can run the football. And, you know, that keeps the clock moving. It makes the game shorter. And you allow your true freshman to get his feet wet without throwing the football and making mistakes.
So here we go. K-State get it together. Or is it just too good a defense? Plenty of time to throw, and wide of the intended target, trying to get it on the outside to Smith as we check in with Jim Knox.
All right, Joel, just got through talking to Bill Snyder. He said they got to hold their poise here in the second half. They got to stay focused. He'd like to get more balance as well. He said give a lot of credit to UCF. They got to get the job done, but he also would like to see a lot more balance here in the second half. We'll see what happens.
Well, they tried to throw the out on first down and talking about balance.
Well, they had it. Carson Kaufman just jumped at the throw and threw a poor pass.
He is now 5 of 10 with a pick, only 20 yards in completions, and reading it perfectly. It's incomplete because of Miller on the outside. He got his hand on it. It was deflected. I talked about the 6 possessions. They didn't have a first down, Kansas State, until 3 minutes into the second 15 minutes of play.
4 3-and-outs for Kansas State. That is not Bill Snyder football. They are built to hold the football, retain the football by running it, move the chains, and keep it away from the opposing offense. They've done none of that so far today.
Kaufman out of the gun on 3rd and 10 and fakes it. The action for Thomas. Can he get to the 30? No. We talked about the overall speed of the defense. And coming up big that time, it was Derek Allman pursuing from behind the outside backer.
Creative play call, creative play design for Kansas State, trying to fake the screen or the bubble screen one way and allow Daniel Thomas to come all the way back around from his right running back position. The problem is Zach Kendall gets in the way of Daniel Thomas. He stopped running. Thomas had to slow down, don't get the first down.
Good punt. Guyton looking into the sun with a fair catch. He's got it back between the 32 and 33 for the first possession of the second half for UCF. And as George O'Leary talked about it, you got to get into the end zone. Well, they missed a field goal opportunity, but they did have good field position. They wasted good field position. Average drive started at close to their own 35. So they had the early 7-0 lead, turned it over, and that was deep in K-State territory. Missed the field goal, but you only see 1 3-and-out, and that was before the rains came. Ronnie Weaver starts in the backfield along with Godfrey. He was their most effective back in the first half. Weaver and the power play as he's met in the secondary by Lemur. But good yardage on first down, 4, almost 5.
Already an adjustment for Kansas State. That first half, they were sold on the fact that they were going to keep 2 safeties back and try to defend the run with only 6 or 7 in the box. Right away, they insert that safety into the box. Emmanuel Lemur was playing free safety. He still had to come up from that position to make the tackle. UCF on schedule, 2nd and 6.
Opening 90 seconds of the second half. And out of the gun, option time. There's the zone read that you were talking about. They stack it better. It's only a gain of 2 up to the 40 as Harold got to the running back. Well, as we continue to talk about Jeff Godfrey and what a catalyst, kind of a playmaker, a point guard in basketball, the last time UCF had a true freshman quarterback play at this level, and you don't want to put him on that pedestal yet, but he has the ability. We already see that. It was Dante Culpepper.
Over 2,000 yards that year. These 2 guys, Godfrey and Culpepper, the only true freshman quarterback in UCF history to win their first start.
Going to be 3rd. Boy, important field position-wise on this 3rd and 3. Right side option. And they finally get to Godfrey. Slicing through. Good play by Butler.
Garrett and Rebeck also in on that play. Getting off the blocks on the outside. They're just going to try to run that speed option that we saw earlier in the game. Try to extend the line of scrimmage, but you see David Garrett immediately insert himself into the running lane. That's a great adjustment, a halftime adjustment from Kansas State.
Thompson waits for the punt. No pressure on Klingon. And Grant hangs on. It'll be a fair catch. And it'll be back at the 15, so we talk about the field position. It's deep in K-State territory once again, and that has been the story all day long for them. A long field, 3 minutes gone in the third. It'll be K-State's football at the 15. They're looking for the first points of the day. All the credit. The speed defense of UCF. Kaufman, quick one for Thompson. And spinning across the 20, out to the 22 is Tremaine Thompson, brought down by Reggie Weems. So maybe the 3-step, whether it's and the quick rhythm, will get Carson Kaufman in some type of semblance of continuity.
What they're trying to do is they're trying to spread the defense out now. They're trying to get it 3-4 wide receivers and make it hard on that linebacker who's walked out over the slot. You act like you're going to run the zone read, and then you throw off of that. That's very tough for that walked out outside linebacker.
Well, Wildcat action. Look out. It'll be Daniel Thomas. Boy, did they stay home on that read. He's short, I believe. May need a measurement. Victor Gray right there. Talk about a slow developing one. They put it on the marker. It's a first down, and it is. It's across the 15. From the 15 to the 25.
I really like what Daniel Thomas was able to do there, Joel. The patience. You saw him almost slow play it, hop around in the backfield, let the block set up. When he realized it wasn't there, he got behind his pads and had them hidden yards that we talked about earlier and got it across the 25-yard line.
Stays in the backfield with Kaufman. First downs have been rare. Now, short side, and you talked about patience. He darts after he's pushed back slightly, waits, it develops, and he gets almost 7.
The offensive linemen know that, so they're going to stay on their block as long as they possibly can. Wade Wybert out there from his center position, pulling in front of Daniel Thomas, but the patience and vision in order to cut back, find the seam, and get positive yards. That's what makes Daniel Thomas so good.
First and 10 line is brought to you by Phillips Televisions. It's a second and short. That's been rare for K-State today. Second and 3 at their own 32. Kaufman and Thompson was ready to get laid out. There was no block at all, and Josh Robinson flagged on the play. Very similar to the bubble that never developed for the opposition UCF, where the wide receiver missed the opportunity. And is there a flag? It'll be against K-State, actually. Options belong to George O'Leary. Illegal downfield.
Ineligible man downfield. Number 18 was covered by a wide receiver. That penalty is refused. It's third down.
So now it's going to be third and short. Third and about 3. McDonald is the one they called on the play. It's Andre McDonald.
This is not a penalty that you often see from a Bill Snyder coach football team. When I played Bill Snyder coach football teams, Joel, they were always sound, fundamentally sound, never had to take delay games, always knew what they were doing. Right now, Kansas State out of sorts. Carson Kaufman still looking at his sidelines. Play clock down to 12, 11, and now 10.
Get onto the line late. They'll run Smith in motion on third and a long 3. Kaufman, man. It was behind his intent to target Thompson. There was congestion on that side to begin with. And once again, a struggle for K-State after one first down, a punt. They have not been able to succeed on third downs at all today.
Completely out of sync, not knowing who is on the line of scrimmage, who's off the line of scrimmage, trying to run a little fake play action pass, get a curl in there behind the linebackers, unable to do it.
Door punts to Guyton. Give credit to the Knights. Now, can they get any kind of return? Punters have been featured today, haven't they? And Guyton, with his own man being blocked into him, Weems holds on back at the 31. So UCF with the lead and the ball. When we come back to the Little Apple of Manhattan, Kansas. That he had a degree in body surfing. I didn't know that was an academic specialty. Now we're going to find out the university that awarded him that degree. It's from the 31, and it's 1st and 10. 3 and out, their first possession. And belting the running back right away. It's Antonio Felder on top of it. Getting to the back, Weaver. And multiple substitutions now, as Weaver is going to head over to the bench after the gain of only a yard.
K-State is going to have to play with fire here. They're going to have to take some risky approaches to their defense, not playing with 2 safeties. Like this play right here, you got to sink a safety in. These linebackers are too spread apart. Godfrey's just going to run the quarterback sneak.
It'll be 2nd and 9, and behind his intended target. They're now 3 of 8 on their 3rd downs. This is a 3rd down coming up. David Garrett on the coverage.
This is what I'm talking about, Joel. Those linebackers, 2 spread apart, 1 safety, 2 safety. That's too much safety defense, if you ask me. Now the hole in the defense is right in the middle. We saw earlier in this game Jeff Godfrey run the quarterback draw on the same formation, same defensive look for Kansas State. They'll get back to that because that's the look that they want to see from Kansas State's defense.
Newsom and Waters checking into the game. Top your screen. 4 wide receivers with Weaver in the backfield on 3rd and 9. Ton of time and a 1st down. It went to Waters, the senior from Rome, Georgia. Got a 1st down across the 45 to the 48, and a throw with authority by Jeff Godfrey.
And on the frame of the wide receiver. Talking, speaking, communicating with the football and the ball placement. The ball is thrown on his feet, delivered to the outside number of Waters. This is how you do it. I don't like him patting the football as much as he does Joel, but he's still young. He'll get over that. Move your feet, get that throw on the frame.
Weaver cutting it back and spinning his way. Yards after contact for 7 to the 45. Zimmerman finally got to him, but that's the way Ronnie Weaver out of Vero Beach was running, the former walk-on, in the first 15 minutes of play.
He was their most consistent back and productive back a week ago. A couple of touchdown runs. They said they were going to go with the hot hand, and right now it's clearly Ronnie Weaver in the run game.
You almost wonder about K-State's offense to the extent if UCF gets another score, can K-State overcome a 2-score deficit? They've done so little today offensively. It'll be 2nd and 3. From the 45, Weaver looking for a lane, going low and making the most of it because there was not much available. He's about a half-yard shy, wrapped up by Reback, the linebacker out of St. Louis' Oakville High School. And now it's going to be 3rd and less than a yard. So do they keep Weaver in there, the big back? You've also got Kelly. We have not seen him. We've seen Jonathan Davis. We haven't seen the sophomore at 6'3", 230. Brendan Kelly, who's truly the power back. It'll be Weaver. And there's movement on the left side. Boy, is that costly.
False start on the offense, number 43. It's a 5-yard penalty. It'll remain 3rd down.
And that's the H-back of all people. Ricky Kay wasn't a member of the offensive line, although he sets up on the hip of the tackle over to the left.
As a quarterback, I never liked going on a hard cadence. Here's the H-back, Ricky Kay up the top. I never liked going on a hard cadence in what I thought was a critical down, 3rd and short, because you're taking yourself out of what I call conversion territory. Now moving it back to 3rd and 5, percentages go way down.
But that's an inexperienced quarterback as well.
Absolutely.
So 3rd and 5.5. She caught his own number and run for it. There goes their best weapon so far, and a 1st down for Jeff Godfrey. The true freshman takes it to the 40, dropped by Slaughter.
Big left tackle, number 65, Cliff McCray, playing guard. He double teams with the left tackle, Aubrey Leggins, and just a terrific block on the inside on Antonio Felder. That's what allows Godfrey those lanes, Joel, is when the defensive linemen are unable to scrape off their blocks and tackle the quarterback running the football. That's what makes a lineman so good and difficult to play against.
Well, McCray missed a year with a heart condition. Missed another year. We'll get back to that thought in a moment, but into the secondary, look out. There goes Ronnie Weaver down the sideline, and he's got a first and goal inside the 10. So going over on that side that we were just talking about with McCray over there in Leggins. Ty Zimmerman bumps him out.
McCray's going to be pulling into your screen in a terrific block. Hooks the end, and then it's all Weaver, the vision, and then the bounce outside. The physical run at the end, lowering your shoulder, taking it to the defense. Ty Zimmerman, the true freshman, having to save a touchdown at the 9-yard line for Kansas State.
Inside of 7 and counting left in the third. Weaver stays in the backfield. So on first and goal, Weaver again. This time they get to him. He tried to just slam his way over the right side. Brazell Brown, first one to the bottom of the pile. It'll be second and goal, almost the same spot, right about the 9.
This team, the Central Florida Knights, UCF, 100% this year inside the red zone, scoring points. Only one of those drives had to end with a field goal. They're 10 of 11 scoring touchdowns inside the 20-yard line. Very efficient, and the reason is they got a quarterback in Jeff Godfrey who can hurt you on the edge.
He's a playmaker. There is no question. Now do you keep it in his hands? A little option action. It is his decision. Godfrey looking at the corner of the end zone will run it. Chased down. Otherwise, he's turning the corner. He goes down. Garrett lassoed him around the ankles at about the 6.
Great closing speed from David Garrett. Trying to run the zone play action pass, the zone read, get on the outside rolling to your left, but Garrett closing fast, not allowing the speedy freshman to get to the corner.
How big is this third down? They're 2 of 2 on this drive on their third downs. Far more successful offensively all day, but basically nothing to show for it. Can they capitalize? It'll be a third and goal to the 6. Godfrey out of the gun. Little fade, corner of the end zone, overshooting Aiken. His tall wide receiver, defended by Stephen Harrison on the coverage. Boy, what a timing play.
Aiken, their tallest and most athletic wide receiver. They want to go to him in the back of the end zone. This ball was thrown a hair late and too far. That ball is going to land out of bounds. You cannot throw the football out of bounds. You got to give your wide receiver at least some room to catch it and come down. Aiken trying to bring it in and keep a foot in bounds, unable to do it.
Couture missed from 42. Well, this is a chip shot, a 23-yarder, and he hooked it. Another wasted opportunity. Miller did score last week. In the Buffalo game, he returned a pick 30 yards for a touchdown.
It was a shovel pass. He got in there, took it for a pick 6. Miller's been outstanding today.
He's been sensational. Now Thomas trying to get out of the backfield. And again, the speed, the lateral pursuit when it looked like, wait a minute, maybe he will turn the corner, but Reggie Weems made sure he did.
And that's the thing for me. You see Weems and Ishmael and Body and Robinson, the 4 defensive backs for UCF, up at the line of scrimmage, not respecting Kansas State's ability to throw the football, making it extremely tough for the Wildcats to run it with Daniel Thomas. Carson Kaufman is going to have to find a way to get the football down the field.
It'll be second and 11. Here comes the heat on Kaufman. Eludes the pressure. Wide open. He's got Thompson. There goes Tremaine Thompson getting a block from Broderick Smith. And saving the touchdown is Josh Robinson. Finally, an explosive play for the Wildcats.
And finally, a calm presence in the pocket for Carson Kaufman. There was pressure to his left. He's able to step away and yet still keep his frame, keep his balance, and then step up and deliver a strike down the football field. His best throw of the day. Thompson trying to get to the outside. Smith doing everything he possibly can, but Robinson showing why he was a freshman All-American, saving a touchdown at the end of that play. That's exactly what Kansas State needed.
73 yards on the pass and run. Thomas tried to shift on the cut over to the left side, but again, shut down. Dunston in the middle of things again, the underneath tackle, the true freshman. And finally, a little relief for Kaufman. Celebrate with me, please.
Playing quarterback is a little bit like playing baseball, Joel. You can deal with some some periods where mentally you're not able to go make good plays, yet Carson Kaufman comes back and is able to step up and deliver a strike down the field.
Deepest penetration of the day by far. A little gadget action. And boy, talk about being at home. Miller again. How impressive is Bruce Miller, the senior from Canton, Georgia, as he takes care of Chris Harper, the wide receiver. Speed, just discipline.
Discipline and his motor, and you hear that a lot with defensive linemen, but his motor blocked at the point of attack, stays with the play. Wade Weibert, the center, was out pulling on the outside, and he runs by Miller. That's a mistake and a misassignment by Weibert, but the motor and the energy, constant energy throughout the play. Miller is so good at that.
So now 3rd and goal, moving the wrong direction. The big 6'8" wide receiver goes in motion. Kaufman in trouble. Scramble mode, up for grabs. Incomplete. Coverage by Weems. Pleading over there is Chris Harper, the sophomore from Wichita, transferred from the Oregon Ducks program. And now a field goal try coming up. If he turns around, it looked like Weems had a better shot at the ball.
This is exactly what you want to do. This is actually a pretty good pass, especially when you see a guy's back to you as a quarterback. Try to throw it short and allow your wide receiver to come back because the defensive back doesn't see it. But the ball was unable to get all the way back to Harper, and now you got to settle for a field goal. That's very disappointing for the Wildcats.
Josh Cherry, 27-yard attempt. It looked like it got deflected, and it's still good. Boy, was that tipped at the line?
Didn't look clean. You're exactly right, but
Kansas State hasn't done a thing offensively. Give his other teammates credit, but he's kind of the spark of it all. Now on the squibber, it's Newsom picking it up inside the 15. Got a lane over to the right side. Good return. Great field position for Central Florida. It sounds like the redundancy factor when we say great field position for Central Florida because they've wasted it.
Well, the kicking game for Kansas State hasn't been terrific. A couple of punts that they've had to punt from deep in their own territory, so that doesn't help things out. But the return game from Central Florida has been good, given the opportunity. That time, Quincy McDuffie, who has 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns in his career for UCF, returns it all the way up to the 35.
It's the 18th time I've been counting that we've had the Wabash Cannonball in the background today. And we're not complaining. Expected when you come to the Heartland. Jonathan Davis in the backfield on 1st and 10. That was the struggle. Davis wanted it. Instead, wide open to the outside. Guyton, they broke down, and so did he. He comes up lame, unfortunately. A.J. Guyton on the receiving end. Otherwise, they got a lot more than only the 33.
That does not look good at all. Joel, that's a possible.
But we're not going to speculate.
Well, that's a touchdown. Really, that's, no one out there. Guyton goes down with the injury.
Another young man, Miami area, Homestead, Florida. He had a huge opener. He's been solid in their first 3. 9 for 127 at the opener. It didn't look like a cramp. We can only cross our fingers for a cramp. Taking it inside the 30 down to the 29 is Jonathan Davis for a pickup of 4. Well, the decision, it's going to be interesting to see. And another look. Just grab the back almost like a hamstring.
Hard to tell from those looks. Possible Achilles.
Yep.
He's the back of that heel.
Not the back of his thigh, but the heel, you're right. Davis stays in the backfield on 2nd and 6. And a little path off his center and guard over to the right side. Down to the 25. Now, they don't get the first down, and I was about to say, the decision is it Couture.
At this point, I might think about going for it. Even up 4, I know that's not conventional at all, but you've had great success spreading the defense out.
And you're on the road.
And you're on the road. If they do get to 4th down, you might see the Knights go for it. George O'Leary.
Davis behind the fullback in the eye. Jumbo look. 3rd and a couple. Davis has a crease. And first down to the 22. Don't have to worry about it, at least so far. Blake Slaughter getting them down. with 46 seconds left in the third. So all the yards and only 7 points on the board for UCF.
Weaver was the one that delivered that blow. Blake Slaughter, yes, he's going to get credited with the tackle, but lowering his shoulder. Jonathan Davis for UCF. That's a terrific run in a short yardage situation. I always talk about getting behind your pads. Great example on the last play.
He stays in the backfield. Aiken outside has single coverage. Man, Weaver, little zone read by the quarterback. Big yardage, 7 on first down. Terrell wraps him up, but they had the matchup they wanted, didn't they? It's
very simple when you're talking about ratios and run ratios. Kansas State is continuing to have 2 safeties back deep. Anytime there's 2 safeties, the offense has run ratios. You get hats on hats, and it's very tough to stop the run at that point.
Once again, a very effective third 15 minutes of play for UCF. Nothing to show for it offensively on the scoreboard, though. You're watching Big 12 College Football Saturday, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The surprise, as good as they've been this year in the red zone, where they are now on 2nd and short, first snap of the 4th. Zone read, nifty move. Godfrey gets the first down. How about that adjustment? Thank you. Jim Knox, what's the latest?
Okay, directly to my right, A.J. Guyton is leading down. They retaped his ankle, guys. They were looking at his ankle. He was in a great deal of pain, but right now retaped it. He's trying to run on the sideline. Still looks in a pretty good deal of pain, but he's going to give it a go, it looks like. He's just testing that ankle out right now.
Okay. Thank you, Jim. Still looks gimpy. It'll be 1st and 10. They can get a first down inside the 1. Now Davis shifting, breaking a tackle, and they needed the second man, didn't they? He's down at about the 6. Lemur had him around the ankle, and Walker came up. So now it's going to be 2nd on a good gain of 4, almost 5 to the 6-yard line. Opening minute of the 4th. Does he look stiff to you, Joel?
That's A.J. Guyton, the wide receiver for Central Florida, went down on the last series with a possible, ankle type injury, just trying to work things out. Does look a little bit hobbled.
Davis makes a miss in the backfield. Nice little stutter step. Otherwise, he loses 2 or 3 yards. He gets a 2 down to the 4, where he's met by Raphael Guidry out of Texas City, Texas. And now big 3rd down again.
Big 3rd down. If I'm UCF, I'm going to try to get my athletic quarterback out of the pocket with a run-pass option. The ability to throw it for a touchdown, or the ability to possibly go to the stakes for a first down running it, or to the pylon. He's that athletic and good, and he showed the ability to make good decisions on the perimeter running the football.
And if they get into the end zone, it could be the ball game, because K-State has had that many problems just scoring. And now a timeout is called by UCF. The Knights with a, and I think George O'Leary is thinking like us, that the magnitude of this play could be the decision of the contest. Just about 2 minutes into the 4th. We'll be back to Manhattan. Katoy watches on the sideline. Will they need their place kicker 2 minutes into the 4th? Play of the game coming up for UCF. Up already 7-3. And they add to the margin. Godfrey out of the gun. Here comes the blind side shot. He didn't see it coming. And actually right in front of him, Blake Slaughter. Corner of his eye, it wasn't aware of Slaughter coming off the edge. So the blitz paid off.
The high risk, high reward call from Chris Koch, the defensive coordinator of Kansas State. A cover 0 blitz. No free safety. They're all going to be coming. Everybody double crash on the outside, and it's not picked up on the outside by UCF. That's the youngster, the true freshman, not understanding his protection.
31-yard field goal try for Katoy. Finally. For the psychological well-being of that young man. He gets his first of the day after 2 misses, and now it's a 7-point lead for UCF with 12:38 remaining. Katoy has been so good on the kicks today that they have taken out the return game of the Big 12's Special Teams Player of the Week, and they elect not to kick it deep, short, and for the Wildcats, finally corralling it, Jay Hanley, one of the up men. So that's where they're going to have it, at their own 30-yard line. Mixing things up tomorrow on Fox. NFL Sunday Cowboys Boy, it's been tough for the Cowboys. The Texans, they're ready for the Cowboys tomorrow, aren't they? At Reliant in Houston, it could be ugly early, so you want to tune into that game in the first 15 minutes of play because it could be over by halftime.
Well, you know, I like what Gary Kubiak has been doing with the Texans.
It all starts at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. The Ford Fox NFL pregame show brought to you by the all-new Ford Edge Drive 1. Good run. Daniel Thomas across the 35 to the 36. I bring up that it could be over early only because of the guys from Dallas that work with us and needling the guys in the truck from Dallas defending those Houston Texans up in the booth. It's a 10-3 lead for UCF.
That should be a great game.
Yes, it will be a great.
Dallas backed into a corner. Houston playing very good football.
Yeah, and Houston, one of the up-and-coming teams right now.
Absolutely.
In the NFL, not just the AFC. It's a free 5. Should have been, and there is a flag on the far side. So it'll be a first down on 2nd and 3. And as soon as the movement, good play by the center, who snapped it, and that's a heads-up play by the senior Wade Weibert. Carson Coffin, you could see him smack him on the helmet like heads up. I like it.
Offside. Defense, number 95. The 5-yard penalty. The yardage makes it a first down.
A lot of offenses have this, you know, kind of in their playbook, but as soon as someone jumps across in the neutral zone, Weibert just snaps the football right away to Carson Kaufman. He can either just take a knee or go ahead and sneak it like he did right there. Kaufman is expecting that snap as soon as UCF's in the neutral zone.
It's a 1st and 10 at the 42. Inside of 12 to play. On the deep play fake, Kaufman has a man wide open. Quarles down the sideline. Will he make the marker? Touchdown, K-State.
Love the design of this play from Kansas State. The big play action pass. UCF has been up at the line of scrimmage with their defensive backs all day long. You put a fake right in the face of that weak side safety and then attack him diagonally across the field with Quarles. A deep play, a big play for Kansas State, finally into the end zone.
Josh Cherry, the senior of Cook, Nebraska, to tie it up, and he does exactly that. Hard to believe, isn't it? Prior to this drive, no offense at all as Quarles comes through with his 3rd career touchdown on a 58-yarder.
Big play action pass. Quarles running wide open down the football field. Gets down the rail, 10-10. Play efficient defense. That's why they're always live and fresh in the 4th quarter.
Cantelli kicks it away. McDuffie, will he have an opportunity? And Newsom back there with him. His tandem partner said, no, don't try it.
Kansas State on that last touchdown play taking advantage of the aggressiveness of the safeties. That's Ishmael, the downhill safety, the fake. Good rollover by Carson Kaufman. He's going to bite and try to fill the alley to stop Daniel Thomas. And now comes the what I call the Dino route. It's the 3 posts from your wide receivers. That keeps the middle safety in the middle of the field. Quarles is on a diagonal. He's number 1, if you will, Joel, and he's wide open because of the hard bite from Ishmael on the weak side.
Yeah, that wrong step, and Ishmael, he knew he was in trouble. Now, how do the young guys from UCF and their true freshman quarterback respond? On the road in adversity, Davis spins, but it's a short gain across the 22 to the 23. This is a key series. Field position, everything else that goes along with the momentum of this game. 1st and 10 line is brought to you by Phillips Televisions, and I bring it up because if they go 3 and out, which has been rare for UCF today, that it's potential. K-State gets the ball close to the midfield stripe.
K-State, the majority of their yards have been 2 pass plays. They haven't been able to establish the run. So if they get this football back, where do they go after just 2 pass plays gaining all those yards?
73 on one, good point, Joel. 58 on the other. That's basically their offense today. Davis trying to make a miss. Ripped down, though, by Felder after he broke the initial one in the backfield at the 26. Let's head down to Jim Knox. Knoxy?
All right, Joel, I'll tell you what a lift on this Kansas State sidelines. Down most of the afternoon, finally get in the end zone. There were some guys on the bench kind of hanging their heads, but not anymore. They're getting the fans into it. They're all up. They're ready to go. This should be a heck of a finish.
So even at 10 plus to play, and the biggest 3rd down of the game for the Knights.
And maybe more importantly, this crowd into this football game right now. Loudest it's been all day for the true freshman quarterback.
They haven't had much to cheer about. So 3rd and 4. And left tackle. It'll be a false start. Leggins, 66, lifted up.
False start, offense, number 66. It's a 5-yard penalty. It'll remain third down.
You said it, the noise, the emotion, it got to him.
Got to him trying to use a silent cadence out of the shotgun. Leggins, your offensive left tackle, going against Brandon Harold. No, that's not Brandon Harold, that's Antonio Felder, the defensive end closest to us, and just too excited, just leaning and rocking back, trying to get that head start, knowing that Kansas State was pinning their ears back going for the quarterback.
This is as hostile as it's been for Gottfried in his young career. Here in Manhattan, Kansas on 3rd and 9. The Heat eludes the pressure. Can he make a play? He won't get to the marker. He's out of bounds across the 25 at about the 27. So a 4th down and a punt coming up. Despite the attempted effort, Stephen Harrison forcing him on that side. He's a fast young man.
Almost got to those sticks. Almost got to those sticks. But Kansas State able to keep enough contained, rallying up to the line of scrimmage. Tried to lay out for those chains, but wasn't able to get it.
He's trying to influence the linesman on that side. That's a guarantee going parallel. Thompson waits for the punt from Klingon. And a short wobbler. He'll call for the fair catch. It's in at the 39. So I said the midfield stripe, just about 10 yards away from that with a little contact after the punt, but no flags on the play. And now Kansas State at their own 39 with the 2nd best field position for K-State to start a drive today. It comes at an opportune time.
Terrific field position. This is going to allow you to open up the playbook. You don't just have to hammer it out of your own zone inside your 20-yard line and gain a couple of first downs. We've seen him open up the playbook and use Daniel Thomas as a decoy rather than the horse that he is, giving him the football. They've been able to get those safeties to bite, but now UCF playing deep at about 12 yards.
Their best weapon, Thomas, 16 carries before this one, only 44 yards. So they've contained him completely. And when it looked like it could be a big one, it goes for 5, maybe 6. Ball was loose at the end of the play. Let's see. It did come out of the end of the play. Will they say?
There's a beanbag on the ground.
Yes.
The linesman ruled that a fumble.
Is it UCF? They came away with the football. They've got the football. Took it away from Daniel Thomas. Before he went down and was completely stopped, it was ripped away. Ishmael, and the Knights celebrate.
One of the few times that you'll see this great running back get stood up, and that football is going to get ripped out of his arms. You can see it come out. The football is on the ground. The linesman threw his beanbag. Thomas normal. It was a 31-yard field goal. True down the middle for Nick Couture.
At the 45, Weaver is back in them. Their most successful back today. Option wide side, and they read it perfectly. And they covered Weaver on the outside. They had Sweeney, the corner, come up. Brandon Harold makes a stop. But boy, do they have every base covered.
Yeah, disciplined defense on the option from Kansas State. Harold is going to initially take the quarterback, shed his block, and get off. You see David Garrett doing a great job of keeping his shoulders squared to the line of scrimmage. As soon as you create a seam by turning your shoulders towards the quarterback, he will find that lane and get north and south. So terrific disciplined defense from the Wildcats.
Loss of 2 back to their 47. Knights look at a 2nd and 12. Screen, yes. And complete on the outside. McDuffie. They have not had many explosive plays today, let's face it, from the wide receivers. Their big plays have come from the quarterback, Jeff Godfrey. He's brought down by a reback.
This guy, Quincy McDuffie, number 14, just a sophomore out of Orlando. An exceptional and explosive player. They're trying to find ways to get him the football. He was 2nd in the country as a high school senior in the 400 meters. Fast guy, explosive guy, but they have not been able to exploit his speed on the outside yet today.
3rd and 6. Can they capitalize on the takeaway? Weaver stays in the backfield. Godfrey thought about it. Now he will. Was it too late? Making a miss to the outside. What a play by Jeff Godfrey, and he's got the first down and a late hit at that. Take it 15 more from the 34 down to the 19. Ty Zimmerman made the mistake. How talented is this young man?
He should have been tackled 3 or 4 different times. continuing to elude the defense and get all the way to the stakes for a first down.
And now they're in an easy field goal range.
Personal foul, late hit out of bounds, number 12. 15 yards tacked on to the end of the run, and a first down.
The decision
What
to
a burger, what a play, and it truly was sensational.
And the decision to run, Joel, was the correct decision, but then the pure athletic ability of Godfrey takes over, and the true freshman, number 12, Ty Zimmerman, with this mistake at the end of the play, hitting Godfrey as he goes out of bounds, tacking on the extra 15. Now UCF inside the 20-yard line.
Can they also chew up some clock in the meantime? With 7:26 left. Surge by Weaver for 2. Give him almost 3 inside the 17 down to the 16. And that's instrumental now because they've had such problems moving the football today, K-State. If they can chew up another 2, even 3 minutes on the clock.
Well, you talk about chewing up clock. It starts with the front 5 owning the line of scrimmage. They did that on the last play, trying to get better field position for a guy, Nick Catoy, who struggled today, but Bill Snyder can't be excited with his defense's lack of ability to get off the field on third down, and then the mistake tacked on, the true freshman Ty Zimmerman hitting Godfrey out of bounds.
He's a former high school quarterback, Zimmerman. So surprise. Making a mistake of that magnitude. Up the middle, Weaver spins down to the 12. So Weaver, since the beginning, he's got close to 130 yards now, and that is 21st carry. So it is by committee, but it's been mostly Weaver. And the successful drives have featured Ronnie Weaver from Vero Beach. It's a great story, a former walk-on. Here's the third down, K-State. Can they hold him to a 3-point try?
Play of the game so far, Kansas State has got to hold UCF to a field goal attempt.
And a timeout for UCF. So 1 remaining now for George O'Leary and group on the road, trying to take the lead with 6 to play.
In front of that corner pass that he underthrew and was able to intercept that ball. So there's been 3 or 4 possessions that UCF could have scored points.
So will it boil down to a field goal try? Godfrey on 3rd and 3 with Weaver. Gave it to Weaver, who will not get there. He's about a half-yard shy. Antonio Felder standing him up. So make it 4th and a yard. Gotta believe you take the lead. You don't gamble. As good as your quarterback is at making people miss. And he will bring Catoy out.
Yeah, he thinks the same thing. They're going to run Nick Catoy out.
And brought him out late. They'll set it up for the lead. A 27-yard attempt coming off a successful 31-yard try. Catoy for the lead. He's got it. 13-10 UCF. So the 27.
George O'Leary can't be happy with where he's at 13-10, although they have the lead and they have the defense that's going to step on the field that's been the most dominant unit of the day.
Keep it low like the last one. It's going to be picked up by Quarles at about the 15. Good field position as Quarles will take it across the 30. Out to the 32, give him the 33. So Daniel Thomas coming back out with Carson Kaufman. They've struggled all day as a group, not just Daniel Thomas, but one of the great running backs in the nation. So far, 17 carries, 50 yards, less than 3 per pop. And Joel, you brought it up, 131 yards on 2 snaps. So 131 yards out of the total of 209 for K-State today.
Haven't done much outside of those 2 plays, but Daniel Thomas, if there's any time to get going, it's got to be now, big fella.
Only need 3 to tie. Quarles one side. Now on the play fake. You look at it, Thompson coming across the field. Almost a diving grab by Tremaine Thompson. Reggie Weems on the coverage. That would have been spectacular.
All the way across the field, again trying to send a receiver into the zone, vacated by a safety who you just put a run fake in front of. Thompson laying out. That's a good pass by Carson Kaufman. Very accurate. That's the only spot Thompson could possibly catch that pass. So Carson Kaufman has settled down, and you understand that K-State really is trying to put the ball in the air to open up Daniel Thomas on the inside.
Spread the defense, 2 to each side on 2nd and 10. One for Smith, puts it on the ground after the catch. It was ripped away by Robinson. And they're going to say incomplete. He did not possess it to begin with. It'll be reviewed, of course. Every snap is.
Playing cover 4 means there's free access on the outside. Smith trying to turn and make a move, a football move, before the catch was actually secured. This is going to be a great look as he catches it, and then the hit from the outside. Ended up recovering it anyway, so it didn't necessarily matter except for the yardage.
Left a 3rd and 10. They have had struggles all day on 3rd and short, let alone 3rd and long. Moving the pocket by design, blindside pressure, going back the other way, the big tight end. McDonald's got a first down. What a time to pull something like that out.
They've had to do some creative things in their play calling and in their schematics in order to move the football against UCF. The throwback play rolling out, Carson Kaufman selling it to the right side, allowing the tight end to get skinny and hide through the middle of the line and come back all the way to the left side. That's a huge conversion for K-State.
Huge player, 6'8", 280 from Choctaw, Oklahoma, redshirt freshman. Now squeezing it up the middle and making sure he hangs on to the football. Thomas takes it inside the 46, dropped by Gray. So the clock, the consideration of the clock, because the longer this possession goes for K-State, this is going to be their only try and one time out on the board.
Especially with how well UCF has run the football. Their offensive line doing a great job owning the line of scrimmage. That's what Kansas State has got to do right here.
2nd and a long 6, almost 7. Kaufman out of the edge. Little dump off again, McDonald. And his tight end does a good job, hangs on to about the 41. They're in 4-down territory anyway because of the time and the timeout situation as he's dropped by the safety Weems.
Continuing to use Daniel Thomas as a decoy rather than the focal point of this offense. The play action pass, the run action pass, getting outside of the pocket. Carson Kaufman right now, the game really is in his hands because of the great run defense from UCF all day long.
Thinking about Josh Cherry, he's perfect this year, 3 of 3, hit a 27-yarder earlier today, and he's got the wind at his back. Now, little zone read for Kaufman. Man, he's right. He got a great spot. He's got the first down if they get to the linesman on the near side. Chance Henderson taking care of Carson Kaufman. They'll move the chains inside the 39. They may bring him in, but he got a good spot with the nose of the football, and they will. At this juncture of the game, it looks like he's got it by inches. But back to Josh Cherry, the senior from McCook, Nebraska. 3 for 3 this season. And you make the call on this spot. Well, first the measurement. Nose. Right on it. I said inches. Can I be singular? An inch or less? It was like a credit card test, the old days. Now the spot.
The most inexact science in all of sports is the spot, especially when it comes down to a half an.
K-State, and only needing a field goal to force overtime, you got to feel Thomas is going to be featured a little. Looking for a crease. And that's a long run today against this defense, 5 yards, when you're averaging a little less than 3. And that's been the case. He's dropped by who else? Bruce Miller pinching in. 6'2", 255er.
The wind has done all sorts of things today with the storm and the delay that we had, but the wind that is here is a little bit diagonally, but with the kick going left to right.
2nd and 5. You know who's rooting for a touchdown more than anybody in this ballpark? Josh Cherry. The place kicker for K-State. Huge hole, biggest of the day. Daniel Thomas on his way inside the 25, down to the 22.
And when they needed it most, the big fellas up front step up and finally win a battle at the line of scrimmage against those young defensive tackles from UCF, creating a big lane for Daniel Thomas to stay front side. Weibert going all the way up to the 2nd level. He doesn't even have anybody to block. And Thomas with his best run of the day.
Inside of 2. Clock moving, one time out on the board for each side. Short side option read. Daniel Thomas got an extra yard or two, stopping on a dime. Gray forces him out. Big guy can run, and we saw that earlier. A redshirt freshman out of Orlando. Take it down to the 18, give him 4 on first down. And that'll stop the clock with 1:43 to play.
Tough to run horizontally against this fast defense of UCF. Chance Henderson getting all the way out to the outside, but that's exactly what they needed. 4 yards. They're on schedule and chewing up that clock. 1:43 left in this ball game.
Smith and Thompson, the two wideouts, bottom of your screen, so they run it the other way. Daniel Thomas shut down, and they're going to say he was stopped. Set Daniel Thomas on third down. One to each side for Kaufman. And a play fake. Looking over to Smith. That's not available. Puts it up for grabs. It's a grab at the 10, and it's a 1st and goal. Broderick Smith, an afterthought because he was covered early, but Kaufman didn't quit on the play.
And neither did Smith, and that was the key. Continuing to work for your quarterback. A nice job by Kaufman extending the play again, using Daniel Thomas as a decoy, getting out onto the edge, and Smith continuing to run towards that sidelines. Finally opens up. Kaufman finds him for the biggest third down conversion of the day.
61 seconds to play and a 3-point lead for UCF. Thomas short side option. Kaufman got a block and dives behind his offensive lineman Offner for about 3. Darius Nall over on that side.
The clock is continuing to run here. Kansas State huddling up, taking valuable time away from themselves. They're still at the 7-yard line, and this is going to be the most difficult place to run the football and score against UCF on the condensed field. 1
timeout left. 2nd and goal from the 7. Kaufman looked at the shovel pitch. He'll keep it himself. Will he get there? Spins. He's in. Touchdown K-State. Josh Cherry tries to make it a 4-point game. The extra point does exactly that. It seemed like they were so concerned with the shovel pitch, and Daniel Thomas, they didn't account for the quarterback.
The adjustment by the coaching staff has been brilliant in the 4th quarter. Use Daniel Thomas as a decoy. UCF was not going to allow Daniel Thomas to beat them today. Carson Kaufman has to step up, and he's done just that. Trying to run the shovel pass. Carson Kaufman fakes the throw. Great move by Kaufman to get those guys outside, and then the physical finish to get into the end zone. You'll see the shovel pass opening up. He stays on the outside. That is just want-to from the quarterback. Didn't play well at all in the first half, Joel.
Absolutely.
And you got to credit this kid. He came back and played a heck of a second half and battled through some adversity and gets into the end zone to put his club up 17-13 inside of 30 seconds.
The Kaufman family's been very good to the Big 12. His brother Chase, a first-teamer with the Missouri Tigers, and Carson, patience, waiting for his opportunity to play quarterback here. He's a senior. Now Newsom, McDuffie, and Cherry will kick it away. Won't keep it on the ground. It'll be McDuffie. Got to bring it out. And he will after a little deliberation. And he'll get it to the 20. 1 time out of the board. 19 down to 18 seconds left for UCF. Mandar Polaris, hardest working player. Well, you said he dealt with adversity because it wasn't a good half for him the first half. Second half, different story for Kaufman.
This was the first third down conversion of that drive, throwing the throwback. But again, the ball was in his hands. The game was in his hands. Another third down conversion to Smith on the outside, and then the touchdown run. A terrific decision And the physical finish for Carson Kaufman, putting his club up. That is a tremendous leader, and he shows you why he's a team captain on that last drive.
So the first lead of the day comes in the final 30 seconds for K-State. Ronnie Weaver joining Godfrey in the backfield. Can they find a miracle? Ton of time on the outside. He can't get out of bounds. You got to stop the clock and use your timeout. The grab by Waters. Sweeney wrapped him up immediately, and they stop it with 10 seconds to play. Final timeout. And that
trick play, a hook and ladder type situation. This is exactly when you would have to run that.
Straight four-man rush. Godfrey deep over the middle and intercepted. That'll do it. Sweeney's got it. To the ground he goes. And the Cats can make it official and celebrate.
Sweeney caps off an unlikely victory for Kansas State.
Hard to believe victory.
Only because they were dominated today on the football field by UCF. Trying to go all the way down the football field, and to Sweeney's credit, he just turned and ran backwards, not trying to do anything special or cute at the line of scrimmage, and Carson Kaufman will take a knee for the victory.
That'll do it. It's a 4-0 record now for K-State, the first time they've been able to accomplish that since 2003. During the first run for Bill Snyder. And their September successes continue on a day, Fort Riley Day, honoring the Army here in the heartland. Well, George O'Leary, he was a prophet at halftime. He said to Jim Knox, you got to get into the end zone. There were plenty of chances for them to get into the end zone, and they wasted those opportunities.
You don't win football games just because you gain the most yards. George O'Leary knew that. He knew that they missed way too many opportunities. And Kansas State, to their credit, came back and took advantage of their opportunity.
Downstairs, Jim Knox.
All right, thank you, Joel. Coach, you got to be extremely pleased. You told me at halftime you're looking for balance. You got it. Carson Kaufman came through in the second half.
Well, we had some major plays in the passing game, which we haven't been able to get before. We were able to, but we probably set it up pretty good because all we've done is run the football. You got to take your hats off. That's an awfully good football team. I love the way they fight. George O'Leary football teams are always going to be like that. They're going to give you the best effort that they got. But we have to learn how to do that ourselves.
It was clearly determined that UCF came in this game, and the #1 priority was stopping Daniel Thomas. They did that, and then you saw a lot from your team. How they were down in the first half and how they battled back. That says a lot about your club, doesn't it?
Well, I think we're getting better at that. In a couple of ball games prior to this, we've been able to come back after we've been down. That's not always something that this group of young people have been able to do. So I'm pleased about that part of it.
All right, Coach, best of luck. Congratulations on the win. Joel?
All right, Jim, and Kansas City and Carson Kaufman dealt with adversity very well because he did not have a good first 30 minutes of play.
This win is his, number 14, the captain of the Kansas State Wildcats. He went out and won this football game in the fourth quarter, making plays on third down especially.
Don't forget another one coming up, and a good one.